our guest speaker, Nate, please come on up. So we've heard from Alison before from the Central Oregon's Veterans Ranch. I think he'll probably share some statistics about how many veterans we have in the Tri-County area. I think per capita it's the highest in the state. So without further ado, Nate.
All right, thank you. So I'll be honest, I was coming in here a little blind, but I'm getting a real sense of community and belonging here. So that's just incredible, and that's ultimately what we aim to do at Cover as well, Central Oregon Veterans Ranch. Obviously, more specifically with the veteran community, but the world these days with how divisive it can be, it's really neat to kind of come in here, not even really knowing necessarily all that much about Kiwanis or anything, but just seeing this group of people are really just doing incredible things for the community. We love to work alongside. Yeah, we love to work alongside just fellow groups, organizations, clubs that are just doing meaningful, impactful work for the greater community, because ultimately it benefits all. So yeah, thank you for having me and for allowing me to take the place of Alison. Quick update on her. Not sure. Sounds like she, most of you have probably at least met her before. I don't know how far the relationship might go past that, but she's our founder. Always will be our founder. She's still very much so supporting us. She's going to do that a little bit more from further distance these days. She got engaged and is moving to the Denver, Colorado area. She's taken on some other ventures and maybe working on just some other national foundations, things like that. So she's always been an incredible visionary. And so I myself, a little background on me. So I've been with the organization for just about half a year now, so it's still pretty new. Learning a lot and hit the ground floor running. Happy to do it. Just helping out fellow veterans. It's kind of unorthodox, but I was in the Air Force and then the Coast Guard. Got out just this past June. And yeah, just was like a newly married man needing some work, and found my way over at Central Oregon Veterans Ranch, and not looking back. So I also graduated locally from Mountain View High School in Bend back in 2014. So consider myself a Central Oregon local. I moved here when I was 12 from the Southern California area. And I know, sometimes I'm outing myself there, but I don't get to dictate, where my parents do their thing. So yeah, I just jotted down some notes here, and now I'm looking at it up here, and it looks like chicken scratch. But let's see here. I just wanted to touch on a few things, give some updates, and then if anyone has any questions, by all means. And yeah, what Chris was saying, I actually don't know the statistic for how many veterans in general reside in the area and in kind of the Tri-Counties region, but I do know per capita it's like one of the highest, if not the highest, in the entire country. But what I do know, because recently our Director of Development, Lauren Grigsby, she's a former Marine officer who's joined the team recently, has been doing incredible work for us. She had mentioned that there's about 1,500 just female veterans in the area, which is an insane number. So male veterans is even higher than that. So total, obviously, it's pretty big number. So yeah, the ranch, we got our 501c3 nonprofit status in 2015, and the team, I would say in the last year, obviously I've been here 6 months, but from what I've heard and everything I've gathered, it's been growing a lot. But with that, there's been some growing, some changing pains. Alison kind of stepping away from day-to-day operations. Although we're not experiencing any mission drift, we like to stay true to our core values, and that reflects even in how we, what grants and things like that we accept. So our main three pillars are agrotherapy, peer support, and the veteran end-of-life care. The agrotherapy and peer support, those are up and running, so to speak. The veteran end-of-life care has always been like part of the original vision since the organization's inception. We haven't got there yet. we're not giving up hope. We're actually launching a capital campaign to basically build a multi-use kind of event center that would have restrooms, commercial kitchen, and also maybe some just kind of like office headquarters for the staff as well. We're tucked away in a barn, which I don't mind. I like it. But for example, the only restrooms we have on the facility are in the house that's supposed to be that end of life kind of hospice care for vets. And so, you know, for staff, for example, they don't even have restrooms. So we're creating this new space that's going to really benefit everyone, benefit the veteran community, be able to hold, you know, farm to table. I always get that mixed up. Yeah, farm to table dinners and just whatever the case. It's really, we tend to be a venue, and a lot of other organizations will come and utilize us as such, and that's ideal for us. So yeah, it's really however all the facilities we have on site. It's 19-acre working ranch. It's really, we're only limited by what we can even come up with, how we can use these spaces. So galas, fundraising events, you name it. So that's very exciting. So we're really pushing hard for that, and that capital campaign has everything to do with getting us to the point to where we can finally really delve into that veteran end-of-life care. And that's kind of like closing the loop, closing the circle. The ranch is really big on regenerative agriculture in general. So I always like to say, like, veterans kind of they're helping us heal the land out there, and the land is also super restorative in helping to heal them as well. So a veteran could get out of the service and almost like stick with us throughout their entire lifespan, and then even end their life there if they want, you know, to in their last years, to be able to just be there and be around fellow veterans, and that peer support even in that process of dying, which I think is just a beautiful picture. I think, if you know, just being frank, nowadays Americans, we like to kind of you know, put the curtain up with death, and there's really, I don't know, it seems like maybe he had stepped away or maybe over there, but just talking about his father over here, it's just like we like to kind of hide that these days, whereas I think once upon a time it was more, you know, talked about and accepted, and you know, I think that's something we've lost that's not really productive for our society. And that's more of a personal opinion. That's not a ranch statement. So, yeah, the ranch. So we're kind of a mixture of a lot of structured and unstructured. There's unstructured and structured aspects to the ranch. Basically, we have a lot of groups that meet same time every week. For example, we have PTSD support groups for the Vietnam era, also the Afghanistan and Iraq era, and actually some vet center counselors run those groups. We have our own veteran peer support group that we just launched that's open to all veterans. And we also, the more exciting, some other exciting things that have been going on is that we've been having preliminary meetings to launch a female veteran group. That's been a gap that the ranch has had for a long time. We're really excited about that. Also having some preliminary meetings and conversations with some other groups like NAMI, for example, to have some family support groups as well. It's our focus, you know, has always been veterans, but I think as the organization grows, we're just starting to fill some gaps that are there and things that we are passionate about, and that's really important because you have a service member, man or woman, go overseas, and their spouse is very much a part of that and very much in the service as well. So, let's see here. We have a veteran art workshop that's been going for the last 4 Saturdays. I think there's 2 or 3 more left, so that's been awesome. We also are starting a cinema therapy series group, which is going to be really great. Spouses are welcome, and they're going to be using film as a form of therapy. So really excited about that as well. And that's actually kind of in collaboration with a group called Sri Panya, if I'm saying that correctly. Not sure if anyone is familiar with them. And aside from that, some bigger events coming up. May 20th is our 6th annual plant sale. That's a pretty large event that gets a lot of traction from the greater community. and we're actually including a veterans market for that event. So we're hoping to have a healthy mix of veteran resources, veteran artisans and makers, and also veteran-owned businesses there present, representing themselves, and then the greater community kind of coming in for plant sale can really get to know those folks as well, and those resources, services, organizations, businesses. So we're really excited about that. And then aside from that, for the last 2 years, we've been rehabbing our pasture. A couple years ago, it looked like Mars, and now we've got grass and everything, and we're going to have all of our livestock out on pasture this year, and they're only coming for the winter, so they're going to be a lot happier and healthier, and we're going to be having a mobile, they call it chicken tractors, and so they're going to be all free range and organic as well, which is really exciting. We will be growing our flocks and herds. We're going to have a pretty diverse group of animals out there, once again kind of going back to the whole regenerative aspect of the agriculture we do there. So got a little bit scattered there. We do have I don't know if anyone's heard of the documentary as well. It is called Cover Me, The Path to Purpose, and from my understanding it's just on Amazon Prime right now, and it's like 99 cents to rent, and so we're really excited that because that was a long work in progress, and then finally get to see it come to fruition and finally be able to click rent and watch it. It's really neat. So that's kind of all I had to share and what I wanted to touch on. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Go back there first.
I remember Alison coming in 2015, and then she was just getting the property, and she was talking about these special sheep that she was going to get. Did that ever come together, those sheep?
So I'm pretty sure that did, because we have pictures of those sheep, and I think I almost know exactly what sheep you're talking about. I'm blanking on their name. I think it's some type of Navajo sheep. They have these crazy horns and everything, and they were there for a long time. But currently we don't have any of those sheep. So yeah.
Amber and I were on the same wavelength. What kind of livestock do you have on the ranch?
So I know it's so fun. We just got 2 new turkeys, and these ones, they're not going to be harvested or anything like that. So they're kind of like our glorified pets. They just walk around and they're hilarious. But yeah, we have 2 turkeys right now, close to 20 chickens. We have 2 llamas, 1 alpaca, 5 sheep. We have 2 pigs, and let's see.
And those are just in the veterans group.
Yeah, I think that's it right now. And we've been kind of holding off because we've been in somewhat of a 3-phase process with that pasture rehabilitation. Phase 1 is obviously getting that pasture ready for the animals to go out, and now we are going to be increasing and actually, just doing everything from A to Z, the breeding, really just everything that has to do with ranching. So really excited about that. We're going to be getting some cattle and some goats as well. So
I have what might be more of a suggestion.
Yeah.
I know quite a few women veterans. They have always resented being separated from the men veterans.
Yes.
So I wondered if you'd rather try to encourage women to join the groups you currently have, and rather than create a separate women's group.
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion. Basically, that is our hope and goal, and the women that are kind of the peer support specialists of these groups, they are, encouraging these other women veterans to, basically gravitate towards some of those more integrated groups as the end goal. I think what it is we're getting feedback from the veterans, and we want to make sure we're listening because it's their ranch, and a lot of us obviously on staff are wearing 2 hats because we're veterans ourselves, but we're also, have a fiduciary responsibility to the organization and just want to steward it well. But so the feedback we're getting is that sometimes they're like female veteran, for example, who might be, just to put it simply, really struggling, whether it's just life stuff in general or whether it's service connected, they might feel more comfortable in a group with other female veterans first, and then be able to kind of move on, if that makes sense. And so it's been the feedback we're getting for a long time that they really want their own group, and then also want to branch out and start going into some of these other groups as well. But the hope is that, yeah, eventually, like, because we need all the perspective. You know, everyone brings everyone is of massive value and brings a lot of perspective to the table.
Good enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any donations that you guys need that would be helpful?
That's a great question. I might have to follow up with either Ron or Chris and get some of that information out off the top of my head. I know, like, we're a working ranch, so there's always things that we need, and obviously a lot of operating costs and things like that. So I can definitely get a more specific answer for that, and I should know. But obviously, you know, just as a nonprofit in general, I mean, any donations always help. So, and our website is being overhauled currently as well. We are in the process of somewhat rebranding, and I think we're just going to be kind of called the Veterans Ranch now, and drop into Central Oregon. I think there's a lot of like CO things, and we get confused with Kobo a lot. So, and our logo, this one, as cool as it is, it's very hard sometimes to get it printed on like small things like pens and stuff like that. There's just a lot going on. So,
do you have like volunteer opportunities for civilians on the ranch?
Yeah, that's a great question. We absolutely do. We just had a group called the Deschutes Defenders this past Friday, and we have another group, and they're actually affiliated with the Oregon National Guard, but it's the youth, like the children. So obviously, you know, they're not service members maybe themselves yet. But yeah, we do have often a lot of times need, like for example, for our plant sale coming up, there's a lot of need, and so we have a lot of opportunities for civilians as well. And for the most part, though, a lot of it, we try to make sure the veterans kind of have first pick. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Say you're at 19 acres out there. Okay, you have a pasture and you have these animals, but what do you do with the other 10 acres?
Yeah, so it's 12 acres of pasture that we have water rights for, and then 7 acres just have all the other properties on there. So we have the barn.
12-acre pasture.
Yeah, a barn. We have a ranch house. We're getting a yurt donated to us from Sun River Resort, which is exciting. We have like a simulated kind of combat outpost tent out there, and then we have 2 greenhouses as well. And then of course, like there's roads and things like that connecting everything. But that's kind of all on the 7 acres, and that's also where we're hoping to have this new kind of multi-use event space on that grounds as well. We're in the process of doing a lot of true site planning. I think the history of most ranches in general, you know, let alone a nonprofit, is you kind of just pay as things come up. You just, you know, one-offs, like you just do it. But we're really finally not just going willy-nilly now. It's like, hey, let's get some true site planning and get some architects out here, and let's really create the space that we've always wanted this to be. So even somewhat of an outdoor fitness kind of area and center, gardens, you know, like really tranquil kind of Zen type spaces are going to be created here in the near future, which we're really excited about.
How do the veterans connect to the service? How do they just come to the ranch, or are they referred to the ranch, or how's that connection made?
That's a great question. It's a little bit of all of the above. Veterans can just show up on our doorstep, so to speak. They can reach out, you know, via our website, phone, email. They can, you know, reach out to me if they have my contact, phone, email. And there's also a lot of referral systems we have throughout the community as well. So we do work pretty closely with the VA, for example, and other groups, and they'll often refer veterans to us, like if they're looking specifically maybe for the services we offer and provide. And if someone comes to us, let's say, you know, they often mistake us for like thinking, oh, you're a ranch, you must do equine therapy. We don't have any horse. I mean, I would love if there were horses. Like, horses are awesome, but we don't have the capabilities to do that at this time. So we will refer them, you know, to like Healing Reins, for example, And that's not just like a cold, like, oh, here's their contact. Like, we have contacts, and we'll reach out and kind of go through that with them and make sure that it's really a warm, personal handoff. So.
Hi.
Hi.
We haven't lived here that long, and we don't really know that much about it. I was looking at the website, and I see a nice house and beds and stuff. Are there people living out there, and how many? And
Yeah, that's a great question. So that is, that's the ranch house, and like I was saying, the website is being overhauled. I'm assuming, because I don't think that was live yet, so that's probably the current existing one. That's where it's been staged for a little bit now for that end of life care. We call it our honors quarters for veterans, and so that's always been the hope for that facility, is that we would have residents there, veterans in hospice, and that'd be a fully funded program. And but currently there's no residents, and no one lives there on site. It's just kind of normal business hours, about 8 to 5, Monday through Saturday.
So Alison is a great person. Is there things that we can do to honor her or thank her, or is there a scholarship she's putting out? What is it that we could do?
Oh, that's a great question. That might be above my head. I could get you in touch with our site director, Adrian. They might be working on something to kind of honor her. I mean, she's still very much involved with us, but off the top of my head, I don't.
Once she goes to Denver, that'll be harder.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like she's already.
She is there.
There, yeah. So, but she does, some things sometimes still come back and forth.
She does
So,
come back.
yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.